Alright. So we about to shoot this little video. I want to talk to everybody about investments you should make, or investments you should consider while you're young or before you start a life. In my opinion, I'm just going off of some of the things that I learned in my life from watching the hardships, adversities, and struggles of my friends and some of my family members. Now, a lot of times you gotta realize and understand that most of us understand and realize we have the problems or issues in our life. And sometimes because we have issues and problems in our life, we don't want to necessarily face or address those issues and problems. And sometimes it even rubs you the wrong way when somebody else tells you about your problems. And that's totally understood. We get that. Because there are people that'll tell you how to live your life, how to maneuver, and how to do everything. And they're not making any changes to their life at all. Go. They don't necessarily make the changes in their life as often. Sorry, I got caught up with watching these people try to drive in traffic. But the things that I learned from watching my dad and watching my brother, the biggest investments you can make when young is, one, the person you choose for like a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, or girlfriend, okay? Now, the reason it's very important to understand who you getting in a relationship with for the long term, even the short term choppy relationships that we get into with the people that we may have an interest in, you got to understand and realize that if you get involved with the wrong person, it can kind of set you back a couple of steps. I'm not gonna take it to the extremes. Like, my father would take things to the extremes growing up. Like, yo, being around this person or this person can result you going to jail, can result you dying, going to prison. Like, I get that. Like, my father grew up in a different environment, but what you must understand is you can't put nothing past anybody out here. You never know what somebody's dealing with, or you never know who's dealing with somebody. So just because you're not a person that moves and acts a certain way doesn't mean that the person you're with is, or the person or the people that they once were around have matured, if that makes sense. So a big investment on your life that'll help you is choose a partner, choose a person that is moving in the same direction as you. This is why it's very important to have these conversations when talking with the person that you may have an interest in. Like, what's your goals for the next couple of months? What's your long term? What's your short term? Where do you see yourself? How are you with kids? How are you without kids? How are you when you're mad? How are you when you're sad? Like, these different things that help you, get a gauge on understanding who you're dealing with. And then it also helps you to know how to deal with that situation when it comes up. A lot of times, we get upset. We dealing with a situation or issue, and when the problems arise, we don't know necessarily what to do or how to fix and solve the problem, because it's foreign to us and we wasn't accustomed to what had happened prior to that. But the communication and the things like talking and trying to figure it out before these problems arise, then you will know what to do. This is why it's very important. I believe growing up, it was very important for us to have elders and older people in our lives that kind of gave us some guidance. Now, I hear a lot of times, I'm an old soul. I get that. There are a lot of people who are old souls, but then you got to also understand and realize there are a bunch of people who aren't mature to the level where they slow pace with everything. It's a lot of people who do 24 things a day. They do a bunch of things a day and they add up to nothing, or it may add up to something. This isn't about putting down people or promoting negativity, but choosing the proper spouse that one benefits you and them to help you get to that next level is very, very key. The next one, Friends. So far we got the right spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whoever you choose. The next one is friends. It is very imperative, it's very important that you choose like the right group of friends. You got to get around friends who are moving in the same direction as you. I'll give you an example using me. So there were times growing up where I played ball. Everybody know I grew up playing basketball. I was real good at the sport. It ended up taking me to a level further than what I expected. So once you start seeing results, once you start seeing success in your life based on the things that you sacrifice for, it makes you want to do it more and more. But in order to get to that level, you have to sometimes separate yourself and distance yourself from ones who aren't moving in the same direction. Now, the things that I've learned is everybody choose their own path, everybody choose their own way. But sometimes there are, these little road bumps, these little blockages in the way that kind of prevent you from moving in the direction you want to go. And sometimes it can be friends. Like, there are times where you may want to go this way, but your group of friends don't necessarily see it that way. They want to go this way. For example, there were times when I would want to go play ball, want to go to the gym. I had friends sometimes who would tell me I was too competitive. I had friends who tell me that I wasn't good enough. I had friends who told me that the basketball would be there some other day. There are going to be people in your life who try to tell you what you're trying to pursue or what you're trying to chase is always going to be there. Hey, it's always going to be there. Go do that. Go do this. Do this. Go have fun. Go here. Go there. Now, while being around the right friends is very important to get that advice and get that information, but the more and more you live life and experience life, you're going to realize a lot of the mistakes that come in your life come from listening to others, because they're going to tell you how to go about something that would help them in that situation, or they think they would get the best outcome based on what they would do in that situation. And a lot of times it's hard to live with somebody else's choices when you're following somebody else's path or guidance, because one, in your mind and in your heart, you knew, dang, I should have went this way. I should have operated this way. I should have moved in this direction because I know it would have benefited me. What you must understand is no matter which route you choose in life, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be sometimes you have to take a U-turn. There's going to be sometimes you have to go back the other way. You're going to have to do different things. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. But being around the wrong group of friends is one of the ways that can slow you down. It's one of the ways that can get you caught up, get you off guard, knock you off your pivot. So what I understood is I had to get away from certain groups of guys that I was hanging around and certain groups of girls that I would mess with. So the thing is, me hanging around a certain group of guys, these group of guys were not bad whatsoever. It's just the way they carried their self, it didn't match or line up with the way I wanted to go. So, for example, me being a light-skinned person, a lot of times people would portray me as being soft. I don't necessarily understand that or get that, but that's okay. There are going to be these times when people test you. Your own friends are going to test you. You come off as soft. You speak proper. You pronounce all your words. You're always mingling with the white people. You over there with the Chinese. It's different pockets. There are some people who can't see past their neighborhood or their community once they started it. If you have the know-how and the knowledge on how to grow, how to build and elevate, go. Everybody grows and moves at their own pace. And a lot of times when you try to stay somewhere or try to stay near somebody who hasn't necessarily caught the same wave or caught the same vibe that you're trying to catch or have caught, it's going to be detrimental to your growth. What happens is everybody climbs a ladder using your back, and it's pushing you down further and further. You're stressed out. You're losing your mind. You're going insane. You're just losing it because you know, hey, I was supposed to be here. I was supposed to be there. I would have been there by now. But XYZ. Usually XYZ is the group of friends that you hang around. XYZ is usually the group of friends that you hang around. Usually XYZ is the relationships you choose. Another thing, a big major investment, things that you should know growing up. You got to find you a side hustle. You got to find you something that can, one, help you invest into your future, meaning stocks, investments, crypto, real estate, land. Find something where you can invest into your future, okay? The next thing, you must find something where you can invest into your career. You can invest into that side hustle. Every time you get a check, you can invest in something that'll help you go further, whether it's building your credit, education, getting your health right, going to checkups at the doctor, everything that can help you move in the proper direction. Okay, these are like the little keys I've learned on how successful people build their wealth, on how successful people move ahead. Everything, a lot of times, like, I don't know, but I had this one guy used to hang around. He used to tell me, yo, sometimes you be thinking too much. It is nothing wrong with using your brain. It is nothing wrong with thinking through every situation. You have to think through every situation. And once you weigh up the options, once you weigh the options on this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, or this can happen. Sometimes it might be 2 or 3 things that can happen. Sometimes it might be 100 different things that can happen. Narrow your decision down to the possible outcomes, and then choose which one works best for your direction of your life. But in order to figure that part out, you must first learn who you are as a person. A lot of this comes from knowing yourself. Once you know yourself, you'll understand and realize which group of girls, which group of people to be around, which group of people not to be around. Another investment that you should be looking at or working towards. If you are just now starting your career path, you're starting to choose an identity for yourself. You're starting to choose a path for your life where you want to succeed and get ahead. You got to get around a job that is close to your home, or you got to find a home that's close to your job. This is about long term. And in order to build long term wealth or longevity, whatever you want to call it, in order to stack your money as much as you want, you have to find you a job that's close to home. There are a lot of times in bigger cities, I don't know where you're at, but where we're at in this city or this town, you have to, you got to find you a job that's close by. This, number one, gas and car payments, car rent, everything keeps your expenses low. I walk to work. I ride a bicycle to work. Now, the image and the perception is people going to laugh at you. That's what people feel like is happening. One, you got to understand and realize there is nobody paying attention to you. Nobody cares what you're doing. Nobody cares what you're going through in life. Nobody cares if you're walking. Somebody might see you walking and they're going to forget by the time they get to where they're going. And the only time they remember you walking is if they see you again. Oh, yo, I seen you walking the other day. There are people at my job that tell me I'm crazy. They tell me I'm tripping because I walk to work. Yo, we saw you walking in the rain. It's just rain. You got to see yourself for where you want to be. You got to see yourself for where you're going. You have to see yourself for the picture or the image that you're setting up for your future, not where you are right now. A lot of people, we can't move forward because we don't invest our thoughts, we don't invest our money, we don't invest our time into the future version of ourselves. You have to understand, whether you set yourself up or not, the future is coming. Whether you set yourself up or not, the later you is going to be here. And you can be how you are 10 years from now, or you can be the version or the image that you painted for yourself 10 years later, in shape, strong, business going well, resources, financial, you know what I'm saying? You got the finances in order. You got everything in order. And the thing is, it's going to be some ups and downs along the way, but it's nothing that you can't get through. It's nothing that you can't solve. It's nothing that you can't fix. So those are like some of the main investments I learned. Keep expenses low. You got to monitor the friends and the family. Don't forget family. You got to monitor these things that are around you. And you got to choose the proper relationship with the person you want to be with for the long term. Another thing, you have to learn to invest time into being alone. You have to learn how to invest time to being by yourself. A lot of times we get to the point where we may sit at home, we may be bored, we may be by ourselves. And because we're alone or by ourselves I don't really know what everybody else is, but for me at one point, I couldn't be by myself for 2 or 3 weeks. I had to be with a girl. I had to go lay up with a girl. I had to have something. Oh my God. No, don't be like that. This is a long-term thing. There's nothing wrong with being alone. There's nothing wrong with working on yourself. Use the younger you. Use the time where you're at right now. 20s, 30s, even your 40s, even your 50s. It don't matter. As long as you're waking up every day, you got time to build. You got time to grow. You got time to change it. Now, the thing is, people be like, man, I don't got that long to invest. I don't got that long to get ahead. The thing is, you're not centering your mind around the direction you want to move for your life. I center every single thing in my life around where I want to be. I want to be successful. I want to be rich. I want to live by myself. If I have a girlfriend, that's cool. If I don't, that's cool with me. I'll still have, like, you got to have you a couple of options. And ladies, same thing with you. Have you a couple of options of different guys that you can hang with and talk to, that you can kick it with. So these things matter. What's something else? I think that's like the major like investments that you possibly could like, the major investments that you could possibly like worry about. How y'all doing? Those are the major investments that you should be worrying about. Keep your expenses low, the right relationships. Oh, another investment. Work on communication. A lot of times I've seen things fail just because we have the lack of ability to communicate or address an issue at hand. A lot of times people will come off as you being emotional or sensitive because you want to talk things out, or you want to, come to an understanding. Coming to an understanding is how you grow, is how you move forward. But a lot of people can't do that. And so in certain situations or certain areas, you come off as looking odd because you like to talk stuff out. You like to discuss things. You like to, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're in the wrong room, a person with a basketball is going to look odd standing in a room full of football players. Bro, you don't belong. And the same thing with a person with a football standing in a basketball tryout. This isn't necessarily for you. I don't know if that was the best like analogy, but like, it's just certain groups where you don't fit. So stop trying to make yourself fit. Go find a group where you can fit. And if you can't find that group right away, that's the pocket, that's the space where you build. That's the space where you create. That's the space where you get yourself right. Once you get yourself right, I promise you the right people to start coming into your life that's supposed to be there. You start working out. I started working out myself. I don't work out a lot, but I get up in the morning, I stretch. Some days I don't eat. I eat some fruit. I may work out. I run, ride a bike. Cool. It's about how you start feeling. And the better you start feeling about yourself, you start getting that response from everybody around you. There's a lot of girls that I meet, and I just have conversations with them. We flow it how we flow it. And if it goes somewhere else after that, cool. If not, man, don't be bummed out. Don't trip that up. Man, forget all that. This is long term. You got to know how to be comfortable with yourself. Invest into yourself. That is number one. Invest into yourself and your image, your health, everything. Invest into the right relationships. Invest into the right partners. Invest your money to help set you up for the future. Find you a job that is close to your home so you can walk, so you can ride a bike. You know what I'm saying? If you got to get a job all the way across town, but you can't afford it, you got to start looking at some of these expenses in your life. What are you paying? Where is all your money going? If you got a relationship and you can't afford it, maybe you need to sit down and talk with him or sit down and talk with her about, this necessarily isn't working right now because finances are getting tight. What can we do to all right? Another thing, what else is your money going towards? Do you have a car that you can't afford? I tell my father now, be like, you need to get you a car. I got friends that tell me I need to get a car. It's nothing wrong with that. It's cool. But the thing you must understand is, why add more to your plate and you can't afford it? I can't afford a car right now, so I don't go nowhere. It's discipline. It's discipline and structure because I can't afford to go nowhere, and I'm just focused on myself. And now giving me this pocket, this space where normally if I had a car, I would go drive somewhere. I go hang out, but I don't have a car, so I find myself taking walks. I find myself building. I find myself sitting by myself, getting my thoughts in order. That is the same thing that you should be working on as well, if you can't afford those things. Being able to afford it doesn't mean you're trying to figure out which bill you're going to pay. Doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. Like, can you really, really afford the lifestyle that you're trying to live up to? If you can't, don't try to go get it yet. Invest your money until you can afford that lifestyle. You might have to sit still for a while. And sitting still isn't for a week or two. I'm talking about structure and discipline, sitting still, not spending money. This requires minimum 6 months. This requires a year, 2 years, 3 years to just work on you. Work on you. And I promise you, because you cut out all the extra noise and stuff, by the time you put, like, you got your head down, you grinding, you moving forward, it's cool. But by the time you pick your head up and look back around, you done beat out so many people that you used to be around because all your time, energy, and effort was going towards elevation, growing, building, and succeeding. It's the same thing with me with basketball. I started off at the back of the pack. I promise you I did. I started playing basketball in 11th grade. I started playing ball in 11th grade. I started taking a real interest in basketball in 11th grade. By the time summertime of my senior year came around, I was getting invites to go play basketball at different gyms. I ended up going to go play at a higher level of college ball than a lot of guys that I used to want to play like. A lot of guys that wouldn't invite me to the gyms. I promise you. You stay out the way and put your head down, you'll be surprised how far you can go. Then you must understand, once you enter that new realm and realize how far you went, you still are at ground zero, because now you entered a new realm where now it's no longer you competing against the people that you once was with. You're competing against a new set of people that you don't even know. You might have just now got your first $1 million, your first $10,000, your first $100, your first $1,000. It's already somebody that's in that same space as you that done got it. They can teach you how to get it faster. They can teach you how to not even have to work for that, where it just come naturally. I remember growing up, I used to tell, me and my boys to talk, we'd be like, yo, we really got $1,000. Man, you start getting out here and realize, yo, it's people out here making $10,000 a week. It's people out here making $100K a month. It's people out here making $100K a day. How do you do that? You got to get you some assets. You got to invest into the things that you know will give you a return later. Man, if them friends ain't giving you a return later, if them friends ain't giving you a return now, might not be a good look. If that girl or that guy that you're interested in, it ain't necessarily lining up in the direction that you want it to go, it might not be a good look. There is nothing wrong with communicating and sitting down and talking with the people or talking with the things that you're trying to invest in before actually investing your time, energy, effort, resources, or money into it. A lot of times out here, people are going to get upset that you actually use your brain. It's nothing wrong with using your brain. That's what it's there for. Use it. We must learn to use our mind, use our brain. There's nothing wrong with that. This is how we succeed. This is how we get ahead.